Obo. It's the first day after the long Christmas holiday, and it's also the last Wednesday of 2016. In another 4 days, we will be ushering in a brand new year. Tonight, we'll tell you about how things are starting up again after the break. We'll also review some aspects of 2016 as we project what 2017 has in store, and that's talking about the budget proposals. But let's begin from the seat of government, which hosted the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau. President Muhammadu Buhari says, as chairman of ECOWAS Contact Group on Guinea-Bissau, he'll do his best to ensure that the country did not relapse into crisis. Receiving Prime Minister Umar Sissoco Embalo, the president promised continued support of Nigeria to the political stability of the West African country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the Prime Minister was in the State House to deliver his government's formal appreciation to Nigeria for genuinely contributing to efforts at ensuring peace and prosperity of the crisis-ridden nation.
Guinea-Bissau, a country of 1.7 million people, has been in the throes of power struggle since independence in 1973. Apart from a year-long civil war, the country was also affected by coups, instability, and intermittent violence until the restoration of democracy in 2014. The hope for peace and stability was threatened again with the breakdown of trust between President Jose Mario and former Prime Minister Domingos Pereira. For the government of Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria remains one country that is genuinely concerned and supporting efforts at ensuring a better future for the country. And this informed a visit by Prime Minister Sissoco Embalo to say thank you to President Muhammadu Buhari. Details of their discussions held behind closed doors were not made public. Newsmen, however, waited to hear more from the visiting Prime Minister.
Bien sûr, le président Buhari est un panafricaniste.
Certainly, President Buhari is a Pan-Africanist. When almost everybody abandoned us, it was Nigeria that remained with us, supported us and assisted us until today, now that we are now beginning to have stability in that country. That is why we are here, and to also develop further the relationship between the two countries, not only in the context of South-South cooperation, in the context of ECOWAS, but also bilaterally between the two countries. It is in that context that my president asked me to invite Mr. President Buhari, to also come and visit Guinea-Bissau, because Nigeria is our privileged partner.
Mr. Umaru El Mukhtar Sissoco Embalo is the 5th Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau in 1 year, as the country struggles to end months of political gridlock. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the need for high-level diplomacy to be adopted in resolving the political crisis in the Gambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo has been emphasized. Guest on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live said this while deliberating on political developments in the region. Joseph Johnson reports.
The unsettling political developments in the Gambia following the successfully conducted elections of December 1, the graceful concession of defeat by President Jammeh on December 2, and the subsequent reversal of that decision on December 9 have been widely criticized across borders, a situation that momentarily threatens the peace and harmony for which the region is renowned. These, coupled with the political power struggles and violent unrest in DR Congo, engaged the thoughts of panelists on Tuesday Live who sued to nip the impending crisis in Africa.
He believes he's the strong man of Gambia, and he cannot defy the whole ECOWAS sub-region because we have a protocol for intervention.
It's very important that the leaders, in their desire to intervene in crisis situations such as this, must also be diplomatic as far as the method that they deploy is concerned.
Now, our own Muhammadu Buhari is the head of the mediating team, all right, collaborating with Ghana. All he needs to do in this case is never to take to the sermon of war first.
Although divergent views on approaches to dealing with the matter ensued,
The guests were, however, unanimous on the dire need for Africans to sustain the relevance of democracy and uphold their states' constitutions.
If there's no democracy, you allow people like Jammeh to thrive. The Gambian people have said, we're okay. The world should help the Gambian people to get him off their neck.
With Nigeria's president and indeed the African continent, as well as international bodies concerned over the deteriorating political and security climate in the Gambia and the DRC, it is hoped that the narratives will change without beating the gong of war. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Timely arrival, that's what characterized the first day of work in the civil service after the Christmas break. This was the observation of Adebola Brooksling Sunday when he visited some officers in Abuja.
Adelaja Samuel is a chief technical officer at the Ministry of Communication. His arrival at the Federal Secretariat before 8 a.m., the stipulated resumption time, is an indication that civil servants are now on top of their game.
Attitudinal change is very important, at least to come very early, at least be at your work, because anything can happen at any time. So that when you are around, at least, and it's good to work like that.
Okay. Esther Duweni is another early comer who believes in doing the right thing.
I'm used to coming to the office earlier in the morning. It's part of me.
At the office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, the day's activity began on schedule.
The kind of leadership you have will determine the kind of fellowship you have. Nigerians are seeing what the president is bringing on board. We also have this epic policy of the head of the civil service, where civil servants are expected to be efficient, productive, incorruptible, and citizen-centered. I think that's getting to the system. People are already aware that they need to be at their best to achieve their goal to become an epic civil servant.
The federal government had earlier declared 26th and 27th of December as holiday for Christmas celebration. Adebola Brooksling Sunday, NTA News.
And as work resume in the public service and businesses also resume after a long Christmas holiday, Aliyu Tukur was out in the Abuja metropolis for an update on the traffic situation.
Abuja roads are usually busy on a normal work day, especially by this time when most offices are on break and some schools have closed for the day.
With the long Christmas holiday over, it is expected that traffic within the metropolis to be high, since most offices and businesses have resumed. But the traffic is not of a typical day in Abuja.
It's free, everywhere is free. It's moving, yes.
What do you think may be?
You know, some people travel, then some people, they are indoor. They refuse to come out because of the situation that we have now in Nigeria. We don't have much money. Some people, they didn't pay their salary. The traffic is light. Yeah, I think people are not yet back from the holidays. Yeah.
People have traveled now. People have traveled out of town, and you know, this festive period. People are still on break till after New Year.
Okay.
Motorists and other road users are only stopping in compliance to traffic lights directives. In some areas where the traffic lights are not functioning, drivers are at their discretion to apply the brakes in order to avoid accident. In Abuja, Aliyu Tukur, NTA News.
Meanwhile, vehicular movements in most parts of Lagos metropolis remain low even as work resumes. That many access roads to the Nigerian ports complex are also devoid of gridlock occasioned by commercial activities in Apapa and its environs.
Work resumption after holidays usually results in increase in vehicular movements on Lagos roads. The situation is, however, not the case this time. A drive round major Jigunle and Beach are free of heavy traffic. Major bridges including 3rd Mainland, Eko, Kata, and Igomu bridges are also devoid of gridlock. To forestall the violation of speed limit specifications on the highways, officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps sensitize motorists on responsible motoring.
We are cautioning people on the road to drive safely. Journey that will take about 30 minutes, people want to do it in 5 minutes. So that normally leads to overspeeding. And this is kind of a thing. And that is why we are talking about even the speed limiting device.
However, commercial vehicle operators in some parts of the metropolis are cashing in on the favorable traffic situation to pick passengers at undesignated areas, thereby causing needless obstruction on the roads.
Truly, this is not a bus stop, but this is where people do line up or queue for vehicles.
We are picking and go. So we are not outside traffic, we are picking and go.
It's only this place that you can stand. So they are cashing up because of it.
In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
Tragedy was averted in the early hours of Wednesday when a Lagos-bound train from Kano crashed into a trailer at the Kawo-Mando rail crossing in the Kaduna metropolis. Tina Toro reports.
Onion and sugarcane was mangled by the moving train, giving rise to a serious gridlock. 5 people were trapped under the trailer. We had to use a jab to lift the trailer before we were able to bring them out. Even though no life was lost, men of the Nigeria Police and FRSC were on ground to maintain law and order.
We heard about the train accident with one of the vehicles belonging to Boa Group of Company. And we sent for a vehicle from Beninyaro, from Kakao, and also from this command to mobilize so that we were controlling traffic. We were also trying to see what we can do. We make use of one lane and close the other lane, and eventually the train moved this morning.
In Kaduna, Tina Turu, NTA News.
All is now set for the presidential visit to Bauchi State. Abbas Meikano reports that during the visit, some projects executed by the Bauchi State government will be inaugurated.
Government and people of Bauchi State have attached significant importance to the scheduled presidential historic visit, as most of the major streets in the state capital are now wearing a new look. They were decorated with posters, billboards, while roundabouts and city gates received a first lift in respect of the historic visit by the Nigerian president. During the last-minute inspection visit to the newly established Nigerian Air Force Base Bauchi, which housed an ultra-modern hospital to be commissioned by the president, Bauchi State Governor Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar said the president is also expected to commission some developmental projects executed by the state government.
It's God sent to the people of Bauchi State. I praise the foresight of the Chief of Air Staff, our son, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. And I also thank the Almighty Allah for giving us the wherewithal to make it possible for the Air Force to establish that base in Bauchi.
Other places inspected include newly constructed Fadam Ramada Road and Sheikh Winti Housing Estate Bauchi. The state government has also declared Thursday 29th of this month as work-free day, in addition to statewide TV broadcast by the Bauchi State Governor Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar in respect of the presidential visit, requesting the state civil servants and the general public to give Mr. President a rousing welcome. In Bauchi, Abbas Meikano, NTA News.
Following the total sack of Boko Haram terrorists from Sambisa forest, the Nigerian military has uprooted and taken possession of the Boko Haram flag, its symbol of authority, signifying the end of insurgency in the area. Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole Major General Lucky Rabo displays the items while briefing journalists on the successes recorded by the Nigerian military. Ilyasu Ali Yakub reports.
I hereby hand this over to you to show that the flags hitherto signify the headquarters of Boko Haram in Kamsuno and the lower Baton troops. Thank you, sir.
Major General Lucky Arabo said there will be no hiding place for the fleeing terrorists
adding that the Nigerian military is in high spirit to maintain the tempo of smoking out terrorists from their hideout.
Let me state that we have won the war. But, however, we need to win the peace. Every one of us will have a role to play. Our collective destiny lies right in our hands.
He enjoined the Nigerian media to educate the affected communities on the need to report anybody or group of persons suspected to be members of the terrorist group. Statistics made available by the theater commander indicates that 1,240 suspected terrorists have been arrested between December 21st to 26, 2016, while 30 surrendered. Ilyasu Aliakubu, NTA News.
And still talking security, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar has commended officers and men of the 105 Composite Group, Maiduguri, for winning the war against terrorism. He gave the commendation while celebrating Christmas with the officers and men in Maiduguri. Amina Hamad reports.
Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who was supposed to be part of the Christmas celebration with officers and men of 105 Composite Group, could not make it due to poor visibility of the weather, but was represented by the Commander 105 Composite Group, Nigeria Air Force Maiduguri, Air Commodore Charles Owo, who expressed gratitude to the officers and men for their determination in ensuring Operation Rescue Final is a success.
It was specifically grateful that we have gone this far, up to the extent of taking out Ground Zero, which we call Chairman's Location, which is the stronghold of the Boko Haram.
The Commander 105 Composite Group urged the men not to relent and ensure that remnants of Boko Haram are flushed out, as well as commended their families for the support and understanding, assuring that victory is theirs. In Maiduguri, Amina Fidi Ahmadu, NTA News.
As the Buhari administration continues its fight against corruption, Nigerian pilgrims to the Holy Land of Israel have offered prayers asking God to help Nigerians resist the temptation to do the wrong thing. Here is Makut Simon Macham speaking to some of them at the foot of the Mount in Jericho.
Well, thank you very much, Studio. One of the prayer points Nigerians are raising here in the Holy Land is that of the need for Nigerians to avoid temptation of doing the wrong thing. And I have here one of the pilgrims who has just prayed at the Mount of Temptation where Jesus was tempted. Okay, so what kind of prayer did you pray here for Nigeria as regarding the resistance of temptation to do the wrong thing, particularly corruption, which has brought Nigeria to its knees?
So I am praying for them, let God have mercy upon Nigeria and the leaders of Nigeria also to know what they are doing and know that they are not living in this world alone. They are going back where everybody is going back to pay attention and tell whatever you have done in this world. So I am praying for Nigeria, for good, for everything, that God should see Nigeria through and Nigerian people should understand, and the leaders to understand the good and right and perform well in this world.
Honestly, I am very much overwhelmed for being here today to pray for Nigeria. My prayer point here is that God should give our leaders, from the leaders to down to the last person, the ability to resist temptation, no matter the angle it is coming from, especially the temptation of corruption, because corruption has eaten so deep in the life of our nation that God should give every one of us, especially our leaders, from the up to the down, the ability to resist temptation, to resist corruption, so that our country will move forward.
Well, thank you very much, Madam.
You're welcome.
And we'll go back to you in the studio for continuation of the news.
Thank you very much. And that was Makut Simon Macham there for us in Israel. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Still to come, the legislature in 2016 and correspondence and special assignments review the gains in the education sector. Stay with us.
You
know, from day one, Glo makes life easier. They brought us per second billing, unbelievable data packages, and even an optic fiber cable to make sure we optimize. There are two things in our lives we depend on: the communication and information, voice and data. Whether you sell, buy, learn, teach, serve, or lead, it really comes down to those two things: voice or data. Today's world is all about you. You want what you want, how you want it, and Glo delivers. That's why Glo is introducing Flexi, the freedom to use voice and data the way you like on every recharge. No plan, no hassle, easy.
Now on every recharge, Glo Flexi gives you the freedom to use voice and data as you like. Another first from Glo. No bundles, no data plans, no hassles.
The largest data network, Glo, grandmasters of data.
To withdraw cash or check your balance 24/7, we have more ATMs across Africa than any other bank. Check out your nearest EcoBank ATM or visit us online at ecobank.com. Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
When you look at the world today, what do you see? The obvious or much more? Do you hear a call tune or the talents of thousands paying off? Do you see an instant message or millions of strengthened relationships? Do you see an app or creative entrepreneurs? An email or multiples of successful business transactions? Do you see charity or renewed faith in our shared humanity? Do you hear the laughter of millions of people in Africa's largest family? It's never enough to see only what's before us. That's why MTN is empowering a tomorrow that's driven by digital technology and made for Africa by Africans.
The governor of Bauchi State, Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar, on behalf of himself, government and people of the state, heartily welcomes President Muhammadu Buhari on his one-day working visit. Mr. President, as we welcome you to Bauchi tomorrow, we remember today and always our commitment to what you believe in, a commitment amply demonstrated by our contribution to the electoral fortunes of the APC. Bauchi State remains unwavering and true to your ideals. Long live President Muhammadu Buhari, long live Bauchi State, long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Signed, Alhaji Audu Sule Katagum, Chief of Staff.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. A bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Many more winners are celebrating this week in the Airtel Red Heart promo. Keep recharging your Airtel line daily and you could win 10 million naira and other fantastic prizes. Take the deal of the day to increase your chances of joining the league of Airtelionaires. The more you recharge, the higher your chances of winning. Promo runs till 3rd of February 2017.
Sure. That is some of my mates. They just announced we win this Airtel Red Hot promo. So wait now. My head carry on here too now. I will continue to the recharge for this Airtel Red Hot promo. God I beg you.
Promo runs till 3rd of February 2017.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Let's tell you now of FCMB, the beat and bed, a
Season's greetings from FCMB, My Bank and I.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching News Extra on the NTA. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed condolence to the government and people of Delta State on the death of Chief Francis Okposo, a Second Republic senator and member of the Board of Trustees of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The president also commiserated with the family and friends of the late senator, whose championing of social justice in the Niger Delta during his long history of service to the people endeared many to him. As a stalwart of the APC in the South, President Buhari believes that the party greatly benefited from the octogenarian's charismatic leadership and wealth of experience as a politician. The president hopes that all who mourn Senator Okposo will carry forward his legacy of firm dedication to the unity of Nigeria, just as he prayed God to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari mourned the passage of a renowned professor of economics and elder statesman Herbert Onitiri, describing it as a national loss. The president appreciated his seminal research works and contributions to global discourse and strategies for equitable trade and economic relations amongst developed and developing countries. President Buhari believes Professor Onitiri has left a worthy and commendable legacy for the academia, developing experts, civil societies and governments to build upon. He prayed God to grant Professor Onitiri eternal rest and comfort the deceased family, friends and admirers. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar, has cautioned members of the National Assembly against any legislation that could hinder Muslims from practicing their religion in accordance with the dictates of the Quran. Alhaji Sa'ad was speaking at the closing ceremony of the Zamfara State 20th Quranic Recitation Competition in Gusau. Jamil Ibrahim has the report.
Faisal Muhammad Awal and Subay Asaidu Maikwanu emerged overall winners of this year's competition as they clinched first position in male and female categories of the highest segment, which comprises complete memorization of the glorious Quran and the commentary. Speaking on the occasion, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar, described Quranic recitation competition as one of the unifying factors for the Muslims and urged the Islamic scholars to always forget the true teaching of the Holy Quran for peace to reign in the country. The Sultan, who was a special guest of honor at the event, noted that the glorious Quran is a complete way of life for the Muslims and urged members of the National Assembly to jettison any form of legislation that seeks to contradict the true teaching of the Holy Book. Zamfara State Governor Alhaji Abdulaziz Yara Abubakar congratulated the overall winners on their victory and charged them to adequately represent the state at the national level of the competition. The overall winners received a brand new car and over 600,000 naira cash each, while winners of other segments of the competition went home with lesser prizes. The winners are to represent Zamfara State at the national level of the competition, scheduled for in February 2017. In Gusau, Jamil Ibrahim, NTA News.
The National Assembly has been advised to take the welfare of Nigerians more seriously and devise policies that will take the country out of recession in 2017. These were amongst the issues discussed on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria today, as the program focused on the activities of the legislature and governance in 2016. Omotola Omojola reports.
The guests who gave their score of the legislature praised the achievement of the arm of government despite the challenges of the outgoing year, asking for collaboration that benefits the masses.
Outside of what the public thinks of what the National Assembly and the House does, they have been committed to addressing a few issues on the economy, on health, on education. You need to know. You cannot get to know unless you go into the specific details.
I believe that the National Assembly should spend more time in trying to see that Nigeria gets out of recession. What that means is that they must try as much as possible to pay attention to laws that will impact on the economy and also laws that will ameliorate the suffering of the people.
I think the main thrust and focus of the National Assembly for the forthcoming year should be how to revive our economy, how to provide for the material well-being of our people across board, without any exception.
Speaking on the problem of budget padding that has come to be in the Nigerian lexicon, the lawmakers said it is the responsibility of the legislature to adjust estimates before the National Assembly to meet the people's need. They also gave insight into expectations in the year coming.
There was no point in time where any one of us, either a leader or a member of the House of Representatives, partook in any process ulterior to what we were supposed to have done constitutionally. We have done what was constitutionally right for us.
By the end of the first quarter, I want to assure Nigerians that those bills that we call the recession bills will be completed. There are 11 of them that we have penciled out, for which if we passed into law, we know we help the ease of doing business, we help the economy.
The confusion of the role of the legislature in the constituency and why it is imperative for the legislature to attract some amenities in the now were also highlighted. In Abuja, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
Now, the education sector in 2016 witnessed some radical changes that tended to answer many questions on access and quality while reducing the burden of high costs of parents. Franka Uzoma Olwa reports that a 3-year ministerial strategic plan tagged Education for Change was designed to reposition the sector to meet the national aspirations and international goals.
Activities in the education sector in 2016 kicked off with federal government's determination to rebuild, reconstruct and rehabilitate schools ravaged by the Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast, especially in Borno and Yobe states. This led to advocacy visits by the UBEC management to ascertain the level of damage in the area. The need to reposition the sector to play a central role in the philosophy of positive change led to the presentation of a ministerial strategic plan 2016 to 2019 to Nigerians. Top on the list of the 10 pillars of the plan are the need to address the out-of-school children crisis, strengthen basic and secondary school education, as well as teacher education, capacity building and professional development.
Professionalization of teachers and registration of teachers will help in making sure that the profession is recognized and then quacks are kicked out.
Similarly, the insistent clamor by Nigerians to restore history in the basic education curriculum received positive response at the 61st meeting of the National Council on Education.
Not that history is not taught, because we have it as accepted in senior secondary school. It is also offered in the university and various colleges of education. So the teachers are there, particularly at the primary school level. Produce visuals, videos that you can play and a child would see.
In line with government's determination to increase access to education and break the cycle of poverty, the federal government banned post-unified tertiary matriculation examinations by universities, cancelled the second interview test for National Examination Council (NECO) for admissions into federal unity colleges, and banned PTA development levies in unity colleges while harmonizing their school fees. While the controversy on the 3-year validity of JAMB results by the National Assembly raged, a 1-week warning strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities over the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement was quickly resolved by the National Assembly. As the federal government retains the 500 billion naira social investment fund in the 2017 budget, Nigerians are looking forward to the full implementation of the homegrown school feeding program, which targets 5.5 million primary 1 to 3 pupils in all the states of the Federation. Moreover, hopes are high on the job creation program, which aims at training 500,000 university graduates to work in their communities as teachers, agricultural workers, and health support workers. In all of this, 2017 appears a vibrant year for the education sector. Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News.
The federal government's 2017 appropriation bill, tagged Budget of Recovery and Growth, listed security as one of the key areas to be given special attention in terms of funding. Adino Justice examines how it benefits the police.
National Planning Site shows police 2016 budget at 16.1 billion naira recurrent and the capital allocation at 9.2 billion naira. The 2017 budget appropriation, though not broken down yet, police under the Ministry of Interior is expected to get above that of 2016. Nigerian police, with close to 400,000 personnel, is the most visible security agency to the people, maintaining internal security, law and order.
If you aggregate overhead requirement of the Nigerian police force for basic effective performance, we don't need less than 100 billion annual budget for overhead costs. Government is trying its best, and the police as an organization is not unaware of the limitation of government. I think it is in that realm that government itself came with the idea of alternative funding, knowing that this annual budgetary issue cannot address the quantum of funds that police need.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in his 2017 appropriation bill to the National Assembly, listed security as one of the key sectors to benefit from budget-saving measures.
These and many other cost reduction measures will lead to savings of close to 180 billion naira per annum to be applied to critical areas including health, security, and education.
The mandatory role of the police comes with a lot of challenges in terms of equipment and human resources. There is no doubt that in today's world driven by ICT, complex technology and logistics, equipping close to 400,000 policemen to man the country demands a lot.
To be honest, I'm not satisfied with the allocation to the police. Maintenance of equipment is not there. Vehicles are bought, and within 1 or 2 years, they are not working again. So I think we have to go radically and look at the police funding system. So I suggested setting up a police development fund.
The fact that when our men go outside the shore of Nigeria and they are rated and they are demanded can give you vividly why. We, by these facilities, they normally rate our performance, not knowing that we too were fascinated by the availability of facilities to perform.
Actually, Nigerian police is working. All they needed is encouragement.
Security Watch has believed that police, by their training, are to run towards danger when people are running from it. They are to protect life and property. They believe that if they are encouraged, if they are motivated, they will do better. Adino Justice, NTA News.
Road accidents have become common on Nigerian roads and contribute to a significant number of deaths attributed mainly to human factors. In this report, Tina Toro takes a look at one of the factors responsible for such loss of lives and property on the roads: overloading.
Most accidents occur due to human error. It could be as a result of drivers falling asleep on the wheel, wrong overtaking, drunk driving, among others. One common phenomenon that causes accidents is overloading. Not only goods are overloaded, but also human beings, with drivers taking more than the agreed number of passengers.
We have route commanders who are on place to see that if the vehicle is loading, must not overload, and then the vehicle must be roadworthy before it goes for the journey.
But if they see, they will ask passengers that pay money to them, please drop. Road safety are over there. We will wait for you. And they will now go a little ahead. They will pay cyclists and join them. Immediately they pass FRS. So they do, we see all these things.
The consensus is that concerted efforts by the National Union of Road Transport Workers and the Federal Road Safety Corps will go a long way in curtailing overload.
The Nigerian Road Transport Workers, if they collaborate with the Nigerian Road Safety by giving the drivers sensitization to know the dangers that are in it, I think it will serve a very great deal.
The major problem in this nation is that we don't have weight bridges. If there's a weight bridge, a vehicle passes through the weight bridge. If it is overloaded, it pays fine. But because there's no, even the big lorries, and that is why the road does not last. Because the road network takes the punishment.
In Kaduna, Tina Toro, NTA News.
Meanwhile, it's been observed that the road carnages can be prevented on the nation's roads when motorists strictly observe traffic rules and regulations. That's what the FRSC in Ekiti State has been working to achieve through its special Central Operations Exercise. Kola Adebuwi reports.
From the time immemorial, recorded cases of road crashes are always high during festive season owing to influx of vehicles on the roads, coupled with impatience and reckless driving by some road users. To avert all forms of crashes in the remaining days of the year, which are usually characterized by heavy traffic of vehicles on the roads, the Federal Road Safety Commission believes it is imperative to educate road users on the need to drive safely to avoid accidents. The special control operation exercise were strategically located at different major roads considered as flashpoints in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, and towns like Ifaki-Ekiti, Akonoshan, Ido-Iyin Road, to forestall any form of accident during the festivity.
Is to ensure free flow of traffic. We caution also that people should not overload their vehicles. People should not use excessive speed. People should not drive dangerously. If there is no need for you to overtake, leave that one, follow with the traffic.
The Federal Road Safety Commission is optimistic that the mapped out strategy employed by the Corps will go a long way at reducing drastically road crashes on the highways. In Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adebuwi, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps says a total of 289 road traffic crashes were recorded during the Yuletide celebration nationwide. In a statement, FRSC Head of Media Relations and Strategy, BC Kazim, explained that 998 persons were rescued from the crashes, with 187 people killed and 1,000 others injured. The statement, which reviewed the Corps' operation during the period, quotes Marshal Boboye Oyemi as commending the officers and men of the Corps and motorists for the minimal level of road crashes witnessed during the period. Coming up, organized private sector calls for reintroduction of export expansion grant scheme, plus the hope of sustainable food production in the Kadawa community example. Stay with us.
Do this thing now. We are not missing the match. You like going? Hello, hey. Where? Ah, nice. Wanna try. Oh. No, hold on, guys. Glow can actually borrow me data. So let's get back to watching it. I told you.
Borrow me data from Glow. Dial *321#.
this must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Introducing the new 5 Alive Pulpy Orange.
Where is the pulp? The pulp. Where is the pulp? Where is the pulp?
Taste the goodness of real orange pulp in every gulp.
Where is the pulp?
The new 5 Alive Pulpy Orange, now in your neighborhood.
Hello?
Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list, starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Gioni M6, always in power.
It feels good in my heart, in my soul, and you're here right beside me. I will never want this day to end. No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Welcome back and thanks for being there. The organised private sector urges the federal government to reintroduce the expansion and grant scheme. These and more with Abdullahi Mohammed on Business News.
Hello, good to have you join us on Business News. The reintroduction of a more efficient export expansion grant scheme will boost Nigeria's export capacity, especially in the agro-value chain. The president of the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture said this while reviewing the performance of the Nigerian economy in the fourth quarter of 2016. The NASIMA president suggested the review of the export expansion grant guidelines with a view to eliminating malpractices that led to the suspension of the scheme.
The government will be able to register those exporters. And with the system we have with the ETLS, we are 60% of our input. You have to have 60% of local input to qualify for the ETLS scheme. I think the same thing can be done for the export grant.
Mr. Bahasi Adam also commended the federal government on the parameters and assumptions considered in the formulation on the 2017 budget.
We budgeted at 42.5, and it's starting at almost about 53 now, 52 now, and we think it's going to go back up to about 50, 55, 60. If we get to that level, then whatever we have, it means that forex will come in more.
That's Business News. Thanks for being part of it. News Extra continues shortly.
The Kadawa Irrigation Corridor of Kano State and its farming communities reveals a vibrant reminder and hope in the capacity of Nigeria towards sustainable food production in tune with the aspiration of the government and its critical partners. Hamza Musa Makafi, who was in the area, reports on how this vision is manifesting.
The Kadawa vast irrigable lands is a vision well conceived. Hamza Ali, who is among the hundreds of beneficiaries, discusses with enthusiasm his acreage of freshly sprouted maize variety. In the next couple of months, the sweat of his labor will be rewarded with a bumper harvest, given the right conditions and opportunity to access support.
It is quite in order
we seek the assistance of the government. The farmers say they have responded to the clarion call by the government to engage in agriculture as an all-year-round preoccupation as they redouble efforts to grow more rice, maize, wheat, and vegetables to curtail imports of the commodities. The global outlook of rice production of 482 million tons in 2017 puts the Asian tigers, United States of America, and Egypt in the front line. According to investigations, Nigeria's production capacity can meet the target of 10 million metric tons per annum. Here in Kura town, close to Kano, rice processing is at its peak and the patronage favorable, with daily income running into millions of naira as hundreds are employed. And there is hope for the farmers to tackle the challenges they face.
Accordingly, our agricultural policy will focus on the integrated development of the agricultural sector by facilitating access to inputs, providing market access, providing equipment and storage, as well as supporting the development of commodity exchanges.
Hamza Muhammad Lipi, NTA News.
The Harmattan is setting in with its dust and
what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
things?
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Far away from home, 2 million people contend with life, not as we know it, but as they come to know it. The Nigerian Television Authority presents the forced journey. Pain, challenges and prospects for new beginning. Only on the network service of the NTA. Keep a date with this unique perspective.
This is News Extra and welcome back. As the Harmattan and its attendant dry and dusty weather sets in across most parts of the country, a medical expert has advised Nigerians to take precautionary measures to avoid the common health conditions associated with the weather. Jane Ojukwu reports.
Haze is here, so is the dry and dusty weather. What are the health implications of the change in weather?
Have higher incidence of conditions such as sore throat, things such as cough, and then things such as red eyes or itchy skin.
According to the medical expert, it is most ideal to avoid dusty areas and to drink a lot of water, as the tendency to lose water increases with the dry weather.
If you have a sore throat or a cough, quickly try to see your doctor, who will prescribe something for you. The same information too applies to children. They should drink more water than is usual. If they have runny nose or they are sneezing or coughing, try to see a doctor as soon as possible. Don't do self-medication.
He advised increased intake of fruits and vegetables to boost the immunity.
And if you keep to these very simple instructions, the Harmattan is just for a few months, it will pass. In terms of your diet, try to still take more fruits.
While adequate rest and good personal hygiene are recommended at this period, everyone is expected to wear protective clothing and prevent any form of injury to avoid excessive bleeding. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
With the incessant fire outbreak in Harmattan season, it becomes crucial to alert Nigerians on the need to be more careful and safety conscious. Osinachi Samuel spoke with some safety experts and now reports.
Undoubtedly, there is no season of the year that comes without affecting people's lives, either positively or negatively. But the negative effects of Harmattan season seem to outweigh its benefits. The question is, what are the precautionary measures to adopt?
One major concern that comes with the Harmattan season is the danger of fire outbreak getting out of hand because of the dry season. Past incidents of fire outbreak at my one market during this season and its far-reaching effect is a classic example. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Special Duties, Rivers State, Ibaniba Briggs, highlighted some factors that could trigger fire outbreak on precautionary methods to adopt.
If it occurs, they should call the emergency numbers 112 and the other numbers who will respond.
Harmattan season also comes with some health issues, which health experts say must be taken seriously to avoid loss of lives. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
Now, the bone is one of the hard parts that form the frame of the human and animal body. Anytime this important component gets broken, the choice of where to manage it becomes a difficult one, especially in rural settlements. Correspondent Dayo Ogunshola in this report takes a look at the orthodox and traditional method of bone management.
Management of fractures in most developing countries is done by both the orthodox medicine practitioners and the traditional bone setters. However, the heavy concentration of orthopedists in the urban centers has made the preference for the traditional bone setters more pronounced, especially in the rural areas. While some Nigerians express their preference for the traditional bone setters because their services are considered relatively cheap, others say they have no particular preference.
The traditional, because of they don't take care of people in the hospital. I spent like 3 days in the hospital and there's no any care.
I got an accident and I went to the native doctors, maybe because they don't have enough knowledge. My leg was spoiled within 7 days.
The high patronage enjoyed by the traditional bone setters is a big cause for concern.
The other major concern that emanates from traditional bone setter is splinting or applying tight splints on a swollen hand. When you do that, they cut off the blood supply to the hand. And more often than not, it results either in gangrene, that is that part of the hand, it will dry off. And when it dies off, the only option left is to amputate the limb.
If there is bone fracture, we can invite the orthodox medicine practitioner to take care of the limb while we take care of the bone. Management of fractures in Nigeria has become a joint responsibility between the orthodox medicine practitioners and the traditional bone setters. But working synergy would be better if parties involved recognize their limitations. In Ogbomoso, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
And just coming in, more than 350 abductees have been rescued by the Nigerian military during a counterinsurgency operation in Sambisa Forest. Yagum Subuka reports that the freed abductees were evacuated from Goniri in Yobe State, where they were held for 3 years and brought to Maiduguri by the military.
The 354 people rescued by 23 Battalion of the Nigerian Army mainly comprise women and children. Captured in Damboa, they have been in captivity for 3 years now until their rescue by the military. Among these unfortunate abductees are Neima and Amina, who were kidnapped from Jigawa and Kano states by the insurgents. Amina, who is a married woman kidnapped by her husband's friends in Dusi, was forced to again marry Boko Haram member, with whom she has 2 children, when Neima, who was not married, was forced to also marry one of the insurgents having a child now. Handing over the abductees to member representing Damboa at the State Assembly, Executive Secretary Sema Satomi Ahmed said, government will do everything possible to see that their health care needs are attended to and other social basic amenities. Already, the abductees were presented with relief materials to cushion the effect of their hardship in the hands of the insurgents.
We will at least organize a return package for them before handing them over to the local government committee.
The abductees held for 3 years in the hands of the insurgents were from Ajigun, Talala, Kafa and Zandia villages of the Damboa local government. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subuka, NTA News.
There's sports just ahead of News Extra, so stay with us.
A king, his throne, his subjects. A chronicle of centuries of conquest, strength, struggle, and victory. A thriving culture. The Nigerian Television Authority presents Benin, Might, Mystery, and Myth. Benin Kingdom, showing on the network service of the NTA.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
Welcome back. On global tidbit, faulty wing flaps responsible for the Russian military